Hi, this is Tavi Greiner, Astronomy.fm's Vice President of Communications. If you enjoy our programming, please let us know with a donation to astronomy.fm/donate. We really do rely on your support, and it's true, every little bit counts.
AFM.
Program complete. Enter when ready.
Now for some fun.
The curtain of night is drawn back. The telescopes are trained. The domes are open. The audience is set. Now, step into the event horizon.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the event horizon here on Astronomy.fm radio. It is another Friday night, and this one happens to be October the 19th, 2019, 9 o'clock in the evening for those of us here in the eastern portion of North America. Universal Time puts it at 1 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning, October the 20th. Welcome, everybody, to our live presentation. Of course, we repeat this program every 4 hours for the next 24 hours. No one welcome everybody in the chat room tonight.
Okay, Martin,
you and me, Nick.
Martin, can I just jump in a second? I do apologise for not posting last week's show yet, but my PC went down. So as you are posted aware, I was on a mobile phone last week doing the show. So I've only just got enough. Well, I've just put an 8 gigabyte stick of RAM in my observatory PC, which I was not expecting to do. So all the shows will get posted over this weekend. I just want to say that because I know that a lot of people do actually go over to YouTube to get the show right now after the repeats on Saturday. But I am sorry about that. One of those things, my main PC is getting fixed on the 27th. It's getting a brand new motherboard. It's getting an octa-core processor of 4.2 gigs. Hopefully that means for the next, at least in the next 4 years, I shouldn't have any problems doing the show. So I just wanted to say that because I know a lot of people wondering why A, I sounded like I was in the middle of a long railway tunnel, and B, Marty sounded like a Dalek most of the show last week. Exterminate, exterminate.
I think I said you sounded like a fast food intercom service.
Red Shirt 3 said that I sounded like I was in a very long railway tunnel.
There you go.
But then again, that's the limitations of using a smartphone headset and not a proper headset and mic.
Mm-hmm.
But as I say, unfortunately, we did manage to get a show, even though I was desperately trying to get my computer to obey my instructions, and it was like limping along. So every time I posted the link, I would have to go back. It would take me at least 3 minutes to get back into chat to see what was going on, because it only had 2 gigabytes of RAM in it, and that was literally the machine I'm planning to upgrade, similar to the main PC. But it was just convenient. I had it. It allowed me to be in chat room.
Speaking of the chat room, I hope everybody's doing well. It's in our chat room right now. We've got you and me. We've got Starstorm, Glenn, Black Project, Evil Spock, and Cassie. Welcome all. Glad to have you here. And of course, our chat room is available 24/7. But this time, right now, during the live presentation, if you want to ask us questions, you can feel free to do so. Go to the homepage, astronomy.fm. You'll see where it says chat. Just click on that. Type in a name. Skip the password. In fact, erase it if there's anything there. And then hit log in. You'll be here in our chat room. Welcome, everybody.
Black Project. Now, Black Project has already put a link into our chat room just before the show started. Actually, as we literally speak, Bepi Colombo launch is supposed to be going on at Karuru in French Guiana. Actually, interesting enough, Rob and I were actually chatting about this before the show. It's an interesting place. It has one almighty swamp, so I guess in some respects it is similar to Cape Kennedy. It does actually use the swamp as part of one of its natural security hazards. If you can get through that, by gosh, you've got to be a determined person. And of course, I do know for a fact that the area has a very healthy jaguar population. So if you survive the swamp and what may be lurking in that, you've still got to get past the jaguars to get in. And then you're going to face a bunch of really, really irritating people who really don't like to be disturbed and taken away from their science.
Well, Black Project says the countdown has begun. So, this is on YouTube, where you can actually watch it on YouTube, right?
Yep. That's right.
And
As always, the European Space Agency, like NASA, like Roscoff, JAXA to some degree, and hopefully, I am really hoping that the Chinese Manned Space Agency will actually start doing that as well, showing us their live launches so that we can all see them and enjoy them.
So who's launching this one?
The European Space Agency.
Okay, so there might be a link if you go to the ESA website.
There should be a link on the ESA website. There's certainly a link in our chat room. It is https://www.youtube.com/watch $v equals uppercase F Y4 capital T lowercase j capital F underscore lowercase z uppercase N lowercase m lowercase k, and that will take you to the YouTube video. And I know that they'll put it up as after the launch as well, so you can watch it even if you miss it.
Instead of all those letters, I typed in ESA.
Even easy way, just put Bepi Colombo launch.
Well, it's right on their homepage. Just click on the links. So,
but the thing is, what you got to remember is the ESA homepage is going to get slammed. Yeah, YouTube is actually much more able to deal with high numbers of people accessing video from their side of it.
Looks like there's a live stream link also here too.
Oh yeah, but to be honest, the best links to go for is probably going to be the YouTube link, because their servers are used to high demand.
I should know. I watch streams on a regular basis.
Yes, you do, Starstorm. That's quite correct. So the best ones are normally the YouTube links, because their servers are capable of managing the load. ESA servers are pretty good, so are NASA servers, but they tend to be overwhelmed. I know for a fact that every time the Keck telescopes on Hawaii do a live session with that and link you into the imaging, they get slammed and they get taken down.
Mm-hmm.
So, as I say, if Black Project is saying they're at T-minus 38 minutes, the best links are always going to be through YouTube, because they have the capacity to deal with it. Yes, it may go from high definition to standard definition, but you'll still get to see a good launch image, and they can cope with the actual pressure much better than most people can.
Didn't hear anything about this mission ahead of time, but it says it is a mission to Mercury. I didn't know that was coming up.
Well, yeah, we're looking at the Iron Planet again.
Mm-hmm. A joint mission between ESA and Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, JAXA.
Yeah, so the thing is, the nice thing about the Ariane rocket, and this is where it actually can outdo the Delta, is the fact that Ariane is configured to be a heavy launch rocket. Mm. Now, theoretically, according to one of my old friends there, they believe that Ariane, the current Ariane, I think Ariane 5 or Ariane, I can't remember if they got 5 or 6 now, is capable of being man-rated. It's just that they don't have a capsule.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe if either the Dragon capsule, or if there can be a mating collar produced for Ariane to Orion, we have a possibility of the European Space Agency being able to launch. They have Soyuz rockets. They are capable of launching Soyuz. So theoretically, they could launch a manned Soyuz mission from Kourou as well.
Trying to find more information on this mission, and nothing's coming up. Just in quick scan around the ESA website here, so I'll see if we can find something.
Yeah, so I'll have a quick look anyway.
It'll take a little while before it gets there.
Yeah, it's going to take a little while, but the thing is, it's going to be interesting when they start using the instruments. So let me see what I can find. Oh, here we go. I've got a hit already.
Okay.
And let me just put this into chat. Okay, so this is about the instruments. This is the Bepi Colombo MPOS science instruments. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 instruments on the actual probe. As usual, because it's going to be flying through space, it doesn't have to be aerodynamic. You can look whatever they want. Kind of reminds me of a microwave feed horn with attitude and a few extensions. It's got a single solar array. It has the Beeler transceiver. It has the Beeler transmitter. It has the Serena instruments. And okay, so the Beeler is the Bepi Colombo laser altimeter. The ISA is the Italian spring accelerometer. The MPO-MAG is the Mercury Planetary Orbiter Magnetometer. Mertis is the Mercury Radiometer and Thermal Infrared Spectrometer. MGNS is Mercury Gamma Ray and Neutron Spectrometer. MIXIS is the Mercury Imaging X-ray Spectrometer, (-C, Collimator -T telescope. The Moore mission is with a single O, not a double O. Is the Mercury Orbiter Radio Science Experiment. Phoebus, that's PHEBUS, probing of Herculean exosphere by ultraviolet spectroscopy. Serena is the search for exospheric refilling and emitted natural abundance, (ELENA emitted low energy neutral atoms, MPIA miniature ion participation analyzer. The PICCAM is the planetary ion camera, and STROFIO start from a rotating field mass spectrometer. Just leaves the Symbiosis, which is spectrometer and images for MPO, Bepi Colombo Integrated Observatory System, and Solar Intensity X-ray and Particle Spectrometer. Now, obviously, there's a link to an image to show MPO, MAG, Phoebus, and Sixis, as it's not available in the view. Click on the link for more details. So what we have here, this is going to be a very serious attempt to pick up where Messenger left off. Some really deep Mercury science, and it could be interesting. It's going to be very interesting to get the results. Okay, so there's a link to the outreach resources there, which is always nice. And so, here's a link for Science with Bepi Colombo. Okay, it's got a broad range of scientific. Okay, let me just 1 second. Let me just put this into chat. Okay. And I see Black Projects has put a link into the mission profile.
Let's see it. It is in orbiters.
Yeah, it's 2 separate orbiters that all work in different orbits to explore the planet and its environment. The MPO, or Mercury Planetary Orbiter, and the Mercury Magnetospheric Orbiter, the MMO. So you've got two missions for the price of one, really.
There you go.
So the MPO is led by ESA. Its primary goals is to image and map Mercury throughout its orbit, while MMO, led by JAXA, will study Mercury's magnetic environment, exploring, as the name suggests, the magnetosphere, the region of space dominated by the intrinsic magnetic field of Mercury and its interactions with the solar wind. Aims of the program: formation and evolution. How did Mercury form? What can we learn from Mercury about the birth of the solar system? As we know, the solar system was formed from a large cloud of cosmic material known as the solar nebula. By exploring the composition and subsequent evolution of the planets within our own cosmic family, we can learn more about what this initial cloud was like and what it was made of. How has Mercury and the solar system as a whole evolved since its birth? How has the smallest planet in the solar system, changed in the past 4.6 billion years? What can we learn about the origins and evolution of a planet that close to its parent star? Does the planet have a solid or liquid core, and what is the size of each? What is it actually composed of? Keep in mind, previous missions have not detected a high level of iron on the surface of the planet. Although this is still thought to be a major constituent, how much iron is there actually within the planet? And why is that core still partially liquid? Another important question is, what is the size of the core? The uncompressed density of Mercury appears to be higher than any other terrestrial body. Why? So there's a lot of questions they have, and they're going to do some surface geology and crater history. So as I say, this is going to be, I suspect, a much more in-depth mission than Messenger. Messenger did some very good work on actually mapping the planet. Now we're going to get to grips with a lot more of its geology, how it evolved, and perhaps where it's going to go. Now, and what surface deposits. Is this going to be somewhere where humans can mine? Not humans. Maybe robot machines made of materials that can withstand high temperatures? Yes. But unless you can build a refrigerated tank that a human can move about in on the surface of Mercury, I don't think so. And I think, unfortunately, one of the things we're not going to find is the science fiction's favourites, molten craters of lead and iron. I don't think we're not going to find that on the surface. There may be, however, a much larger core than we previously thought in the centre.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we could find pools of lead and just build some shielding, cosmic ray shielding.
Yeah, unfortunately, most of the science fiction I remember reading as a wee nipper. Some of it was obviously Asimov's early robot stuff. Talked about how that some parts of Mercury, when facing the sun, were molten and other parts were freezing cold. Alas, that's not the case. And we've known that really for quite a long time. And if you read books like More on Mercury, you will certainly get a very good idea about Mercury. Alas, everything we hoped in science fiction isn't going to happen. However, could it be a vital raw material? Quite possibly. And that is another reason, of course, for returning to the moon, certainly for going to Mars, and most definitely going into the asteroid belt. Because if we can find that there should be at least a reasonable depository of metals like nickel iron there that can be used in foundries based in space. Hey, let's take all the polluting processes off Mother Earth, put them into high Earth orbit or at the Lagrange points, and then do everything there. Build our spacecraft in orbit. We never needs to. You can build landers. It can be a spherical starship. It could be whatever we wanted it to be. Because as long as it doesn't have to go into an atmosphere, it doesn't have to be aerodynamic.
Mm-hmm.
And I still say that the space shuttle wasn't that aerodynamic. It got nicknamed the Flying Brick by at least one of its astronauts who flew on it. And I have to agree. It was at best a very unwieldy glider.
Oh, yeah.
And once you started your landing attempt, that was it. You had no chance at a wave off. You either landed or you didn't.
Yeah, the spaceship could be, cube-shaped.
Yeah, it could be anything.
Containing biological robots that self-repair the thing as it's, needed.
Oh, here we go. Marty's thinking of the Borg.
There you go.
Just because you like the Borg, Queen Marty.
I do. Half of her, anyways.
But anyway, it doesn't in space. It doesn't matter what your spacecraft looks like, because there is nothing to say it has to be aerodynamic. I certainly remember the spacecraft of E.E. Doc Smith. A lot of his ships were teardrops. Some of them were spherical. Certainly the Skylark series of ships were spheres. As long as you really haven't got to worry about going through an atmosphere, then you haven't really got to worry about aerodynamics.
And you certainly can't do banked turns in space.
No, you just use a thruster.
Right.
Sideways, whoosh. Having said that, saw a very good film last weekend. I have to say this. First Flight. First Man, thank you. The story of Neil Armstrong. A lot of it I didn't realise. And I did a bit of digging to confirm some of it. And I just didn't realise how driven this guy really was. He lost his daughter to a brain tumour whilst he was on the Bell X-1 program under Chuck Yeager.
Mm.
Yeager said that Armstrong was distracted. Well, heck yes. But he was one of the people who solved one of the most interesting conundrums about the Bell X-1 missions, because sometimes when you were flying it, if you started skipping the atmosphere, you really were running the risk of being lost. But it was Armstrong that figured out how exactly using the thrusters built into the wings to actually deal with atmospheric skip at those heights, regain the Bell X-15. Thank you. I always get the X-craft mixed up. But thank you, Black Projects, the Bell X-15. But he figured out that by using the thrusters built into the wings, he could force it down into the atmosphere again, let aerodynamics take control, and then regain full control of the vehicle.
Yes, not enough atmosphere for the control surfaces to work.
Well, theoretically, he was actually at one point he was actually skipping off the atmosphere, which was not what the vehicle was designed to do. But because they had that thruster built into the wing, he could use that to force the vehicle down back into the atmosphere and start flying again normally. But he was the only one who actually figured that one out, from what I understand. He figured that out entirely by himself. It was one of those interesting things that came up because, I suppose you could say, because he was distracted. He was doing his job, and the distraction, the worry about his kid, made him work on the idea of how to deal with this issue. Ironically, before he, if the film is accurate, before he joined Gemini, he was actually due to come over to the United Kingdom to look at our V-bomber force and our Delta Wing projects, particularly the Valiant and the Vulcans, because they were really they were way ahead of the game. He could also have been looking at the TSR-2. Again, it was a Delta Wing aircraft. It was way ahead, and it was capable of penetrating Russian airspace, launching a nuclear missile, and then, as you like to say over here, guys, getting the heck out of Dodge.
There you go. NASA's got a launch coming up next week. The ICON mission, Ionospheric Connection Explorer. That'll be launched next week, in about 6 days from now. Friday.
Kennedy or Wops?
Pardon?
Is that Kennedy or Wallops?
I think that is Kennedy, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look it up, hit it exactly. Where it's actually says it's going to launch from. Cape Canaveral.
Cape Canaveral. Kennedy Space Center.
Yep. It's actually going to be studying the atmosphere, wind speeds in the atmosphere and stuff like that.
It's kind of interesting, although given that these types of investigations technically are part of climate change, that we're still actually able to do this. All right, I know they're probably not saying it's linked into climate change and the weather, but the whole thing with observing the atmosphere is to allow people like the NOAA and the Met Office to refine their weather models and make their weather forecasts and predictions much more accurate. And it helps us radio amateurs as well, because we get to know an awful lot more about the ionosphere, which we depend on for bouncing HF radio signals all around the world.
There you go.
You know what? It's almost as if this was a John Shuras show, because John and I, if I don't know how much people remember, John and I would always find an angle to mention amateur radio, and there you go. There's the angle for tonight. Did you see the moon and Mars yesterday, day before? I think it was. I saw the moon. Every morning I go out. I check a manual rain gauge for CoCRAS and submit the figures. So every morning I go out and I either put pithy little comments like high broken cloud, but Orion is peeking through, or beautiful clear skies, can see the belt of Orion, and it's cold. As I say, coming home frequently, I drive looking into the moon.
We saw the moon when we left the theater.
That was in the evening.
Yeah, we saw the moon when we left the moon. Ironically, the thing is, when we left the movie theater from seeing the Armstrong movie, what was the first thing we looked up and saw? Literally Tranquility Base. All right, I know we can't actually see the point where what's left of the Eagle is, and the flag and the ASLEP experiments are, but we can see the Sea of Tranquility Mare very easily. It is a very obvious naked eye object. And to be honest, feature, object, potato.
It's around the northwest quadrant of the moon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Now, Starstorm, could you grab those bits of information about the Bell X-15, please, for the email? Okay, thank you. Okay, but as I say, it is a naked eye object. It's probably the most easiest naked eye object you'll ever get, apart from the sun. No, yeah, as Starstorm says, not a good idea to stare directly at the sun. It'll do all kinds of wonderful, nasty things to your eyes. But as I say, it is a very good naked eye object. You can see the mare. There are some craters which are large enough, if you have good vision, to see with the naked eye. Copernicus and Tycho spring to mind.
Tough to do, though.
Pardon?
Tough to do. Hard to do that.
Tough to do, but it's worth trying. Oh, saying that, what is coming up fairly shortly in October?
October 20th?
Moon the night.
Yes, October 20th.
Yeah.
International Observe the Moon Night.
Yep.
It's tomorrow night.
So maybe I shall just take the binoculars out tomorrow night, and I shall have a good look.
There you go.
I'm actually sitting down. Yes, folks, I am doing... I'm listing everything I want for my job. It's going off to Ryan, and I will be getting my quote for the Dobsonian very, very shortly.
Very good.
Very good, yes. Very, very good, yes.
So let's see what the phase of the moon should be tomorrow night. I'll pop up my star chart here, and I'll advance it a day. October 20th. It's going to be...
waxing gibbous.
Waxing gibbous, yes. Not quite full.
Days, at the moment, it is 10 days and 21.4. 10 days and 10.91 days old. And illuminated fraction is 79.5.
It's about right. Decent enough time because, well visible in the early part of the evening. With a bit of a terminator, getting a little difficult to see the craters along the terminator, but it's definitely still there with the telescope. So you're going to observe it with binoculars, but for everybody out there, if you get your telescope out and show some more people, the moon.
So some interesting facts for you. It is currently it is at right ascension 22.20, declination minus 13.42.
Right now or tomorrow night?
Right now.
Okay.
The distance is 401263 kilometers. It's currently in Aquarius. Now, libration, very important thing. Libration allows us to peek around the corners. So currently, the longitude is minus 2.3, latitude 3.3. Moonset is at 1:24 UTC. Moonrise is at 16:03 UTC. Sunrise is at 6:46, and sunset at 17:02. All times are universal coordinated time.
There you go.
Universal time coordinated, rather, or GMT if you really want to say it.
By the way, tomorrow also, when you're observing the moon, for you a little bit more advanced astronomers, Neptune will only be 3 degrees away from the moon. So you can just slip up a little bit, especially if you're showing, figure out where it's at first, but especially if you're showing the general public and stuff like that. So once everybody gets to look at the moon, say, well, how would you like to look at Neptune next? And that usually works for people that have seen enough of the moon but still want to stay out and look around and stuff like that. So.
Actually, one of the things I find very spectacular to show people through a telescope for the first time is Jupiter and the Galilean moons, particularly when they're like two. It's got the moons 2 to each side. Takes a little bit of figuring out as to when you can do that, but it is a spectacular sight. And of course, you can also show people Saturn, the The moon. Well, yeah, the moon. But Saturn has got a slight tilt to it at the moment, as I recollect. I haven't looked at Saturn for quite a while recently, so. But you can see the space between the rings and the planet. Just
Anki division.
The Anki division, yes.
Yes. Jupiter. But looking at my Stellarium star chart, we're starting to lose Jupiter.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like near the horizon, just above the horizon at sunset. So it's getting really tough to see. So get your last looks of Jupiter in, because as I say, every time it goes around the far side of the sun, it comes back. Well, not every time, but sometimes it comes back out with a spot on it. So get your last views of Jupiter before we lose it for a little while, and it comes back in the morning skies, and nobody wants to get up that early to see it. So try to get a detailed look at it and see if you see anything unusual on it, or definitely if you don't see anything unusual, keep that recorded too, because once it comes around back in the morning skies, you never know what you might see. I did know that there's an article it's from NASA on some things I've been seeing on Jupiter that I've noticed but didn't really look up. One of them is called a brown barge. Have you heard of that?
I vaguely recollect it. I haven't been following the gas giants for quite a while. Admittedly, when I do get to go imaging, it's remote imaging, and I am probably hitting comets. I still occasionally hit the moon, and I've been looking at some, as I call them, the pretty pretties.
Uh-huh.
I've got a list of particular nebulae, Earth emission and otherwise I've been trying to image. One of them is the Ghost of Cassiopeia, and this one is eluding me at the minute, but I will persevere. I will get it.
There's reported about that Juno just flew by about a month ago now, something like that. Still circling around it, getting close to it every. Was it 90 days or something like that? I can't remember. Something called a brown barge, which I'm pretty sure I've actually seen on Jupiter itself. I've been seeing some unusual white blobs and dark blobs on Jupiter through a telescope, and I keep forgetting to go look it up. Well, if you look at the latest Juno images, you'll see something called a brown barge. It's like a smaller red spot, but it's definitely browner, and they kind of come and go on Jupiter's.
Right, okay, so let me just open this link up for you, because Juno actually imaged them.
Yes.
Okay, so let me just chuck that into the chat room. Okay, so this is from space.com. Now, I'm just going to go back a page because, just 1 second.
Okay.
I was waiting for it. Okay, Google's being a pain. Because I actually found a very good explanation of this for you. Here we go. No, I don't want my recipe for Kashmiri broken, Josh, thank you. Brown barges usually appear in Jupiter's dark northern equatorial belt. But the one that Juno has got, this one was formed in its southern counterpart. Mm-hmm. Now, brown barges generally vanish when the cloud band reorganizes itself within the massive Jovian atmosphere. So that is back from September 21st of this year. So as I say, there's a nice little picture of it there on the images. Now, I'm trying to... The other issue, of course, is they sometimes can be... They really are something that are easier to detect imaging because they are actually considered to be visually difficult because of their color blends in with the dark surroundings. I'm just basically looking through some of the stuff I've got. And there's a couple of videos out here. Let's see if I can get that video up. Just 1 second. And I will chuck it into chat in a second.
Okay.
But as I say, if you can... Oh, here we go. There we go. Gotcha.
I've been seeing some unique things on Jupiter lately. It's just not the plain, smooth cloud bands and stuff like that. But there's some stuff between the two equatorial bands, bright spots and dark spots, but kind of unusual. But I've noticed them. But we're losing Jupiter. That's the main thing.
Yeah. Hi, Uptronics. Glad you can make the show.
Mm-hmm.
As I say, the nice thing about Jupiter, because it's volatile chemical cocktail, that is which is the Jovian atmosphere, there is often quite a few. There's always a surprise, and of course, if you're looking for impactors, Jupiter's always a good candidate. Because what happens is normally if a piece of rock or a comet smacks into the Jovian atmosphere, give it a rotational tour of the Jovian of the planet, and you will see going from a small mark to a very large one. Most of us probably remember Shoemaker-Levy 9.
Yes.
And Colin and Anthony Weasley's impactors. Basically, over time, these impacts spread out and go from a small mark to a large blotch. So it really gives us a very good indication of how much energy went into the impact. Thank you, Starstorm. See, people do listen to us. As I say, Jupiter's one of those places you can actually see this. The other place, of course, is the moon, but you've got to be looking at the unlit portion as it faces you.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you are looking around as it goes from waxing crescent to waning crescent. You're not going to be out looking for these impacts during full moon, but as soon as you've got a little bit of dark on the lunar surface, as the sun's moving across, then you start looking in that area, because that's where you're going to see these brief little flashes of light, which mostly are the impacts from small amounts of rock or dust on the lunar surface. Again, this is a program you can take part in, because NASA, because it is tasked with returning to the moon and establishing a moon base, they are looking to find the best area to go. Most people are actually saying, well, we've got best place is going to be a lava tube because it's going to provide a lot more shielding. So if we get an impact on a lava tube, we would have to see just how much damage is done to the lava tube, and does it protect the colony ensconced within? Or are they just going to be used as radiation shelters during radiation storms?
Mm-hmm. Well, let's get our station identification in.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Event Horizon here on astronomy.fm radio. It is another Friday night. This one happens to be October the 19th, 2018, about halfway through our program. Universal Time puts it at about 1:30 in the morning on Saturday morning right now. So hopefully if you're listening into our live presentation, you come on over and join us in the astronomy.fm chat room.
We are at T-minus 8 minutes to the Bepi Colombo launch.
Alrighty. Coming up, we've got more programming, including we've got a Jodcast tonight and a couple 365s.
An hour and 15 minutes of Jodcast, too.
There you go.
Can't be a good bit of Jodcast, you know.
That's right. And we'll repeat these programs every 4 hours for the next 24 hours. All right, we've still got about 20 minutes left of this program.
Yes, we do.
So stick around. We got a meteor shower coming up.
Yeah.
The Orion meteor shower. Orionids, I should say.
Yeah.
And it's looking, so far, reports are saying that it's actually going to be a fairly decent meteor shower. So check that out. Peaking around October the 22nd. Rates being 5-ish or so, 4 or 5-ish per hour, but maybe more. So some reports are looking rather promising for this one.
I actually want to say something because, last month we didn't do a Comet Watch. Basically because myself, Neil, and Mary, we all have projects going on. And as I say, every now and again, like the Event Horizon, like Space Pirates, like York University, we just need a break. It's been a very busy, September was very busy for everybody. So we will be back in October. We're hoping to get together, I think not this weekend, but the following one. Now, I do know that Mary is going to the UK Meteor Group's meeting, so I may actually ask her all about it and have her talk about that on the next Comet Watch. So we will be back in October, and it is October. I know. We got a week or so before to get a show together, So as I say, we took a month off, and basically we all did projects. But we should be back this month. We are hoping, touch wood, that.
That's doing the captain's log if you want to do that.
Oh, what you mean the captain's log?
Yes.
Which is propping up my desk.
Yes.
Basically, what it is.
That's at least real wood.
Yes, it is. Well, this is real wood too, actually. But the thing is, we are planning the part of the December show will be comet watching the pub.
Hard to watch comets from inside a pub.
Well, yeah, but you know what the internet is like on Wi-Fi. We can just remote into a telescope or something and look at a comet. No, but seriously, we are planning. Myself, Mary, and Neil are planning to get together during my visit to the UK, and hopefully we'll record a show from the pub. There'll be lots of clinking, Glenn. I'm sure you'll be happy about that. And lots of jollity, and it should be interesting. It's going to be nice to get together and actually all be together and record together instead of being on a Skype connection across multiple time zones.
All right. We've got another meteor shower coming up this weekend too. Oh, where did that go? There we go. It's the Leonis minorids. We're also picking on the Leonis, not Leonids. Leonis.
Oh, Leonis.
Yes, Leonis minorids, peaking October 22nd. Also, so you might have some coming from different directions. So keep an eye out for which way they come. But hopefully the Orionids are pretty good. By the way, the Orionids are actually from Halley's Comet.
Yes, they are.
So it's a way of actually technically seeing the comet all over again, well, at least a piece of it.
Well, yeah, most of the meteor showers are fed by their cometary visitors.
Well, they are.
We know that Halley's Comet is linked to the Orionids, and we know that Jacobi Zinner is also linked to another meteor shower. And every time they come back and visit us, we tend to get a much better display. And as I remember, when the last apparition of Halley's Comet, the Orionids were actually slightly better than previous. But as I say, comets are like cats; they have tails and they do with what them they like. And meteor showers are exactly the same, unfortunately. We can be promised zillions and zillions of ZHR, which is zenith hourly rate, and not gonna happen because most likely A, it's happened during daytime for you, or B, somebody sent you a really stupid meme that has no actual basis in fact via Facebook or by email or by something else. So if someone tells you that the Orionids are going to be up to 40 ZHR zenith hourly rate, go and tell them what to go do with themselves, because basically they're probably talking out somewhere else that will not be mentioned on the show. They
said it's up to, so it doesn't mean it's actually going to be that amount.
Different, Marty, but
up to, yes.
You see these really stupid predictions, like we're going to have a meteor storm, like around the time of the Great Comet, which was back in the very early part of the 20th century. Now, with a really spectacular comet that gets really, really close, yes, you can have a very spectacular meteor storm happen. It doesn't happen all the time. And when you get these stupid messages going out to people go out expecting to see almost daylight from the number of meteors streaking through the atmosphere. No. And that's what really puts a lot of people off astronomy, because they have an event that's on TV. You got so-and-so from the television station XYZ. How are we going to say, if you go out tonight at 1 a.m., you're going to see zillions of meteors hurtling through the sky. Well, guess what? They're full of it.
Well, there could be zillions of them going through the sky, but we just can't see them.
Yeah, because it's daylight, and unless it's a really bright Bolead or fireball or something along the Chablinsk event or another Tunganiska, not going to happen in daylight.
Yeah.
It takes an exceptional piece of material to produce that, and is this going to be the one? It's not going to be hundreds and thousands like a lot of people like to predict. And when it happens, a lot of people just get put off because, I thought this was going to happen. Astronomy's boring. It never does what it's going to say it's going to do. Yeah, you get a reputable astronomer, not a TV pundit or a newspaper idiot journalist who will print inaccurate, unscientific garbage. Ignore them. If you want to know what you can reasonably expect, go to your local observatory, go to your local astronomy club or society, because they will have somebody who can give you a more scientific answer. And I'm sorry, it really, really annoys me. It's the same as if you go out tonight, you're going to see Mars the size of the full moon. That's just the biggest load of hooey on the planet.
Well, it needs more definition than that. So it was the size of the full moon, naked eye, looking at Mars through a telescope. And
looking
that's
at Mars
true.
through a telescope, that might be more realistic.
That's where the saying originally came from. That if you go out during opposition to Mars, that Mars through a telescope will appear to be as big as the full moon naked eye. But some of those words get dropped out in the.
No, they get deliberately left out. I'm sorry. It is the most unscientific drivel that is posted by journalists today. They don't check their facts. They don't go to a reputable source. Some nutter says to them, oh, well, if you look at Mars tonight because it's in opposition, it will be as big as the full moon. They neglect to tell you you've got to use a telescope.
Well, yeah, because they're not science publications. Those are general publications, and they only get half the information and publish a quarter of that anyway. So
most of the astronomical stuff you see in newspapers today is the biggest load of inaccurate garbage going. They don't know what the science. They haven't fact-checked their story. And, of course, people just get utterly fed up because they were expecting one thing and they get let down by it. If you go to a reputable astronomical outlet, ask us on astronomy.fm, go to Sky and Telescope, Astronomy Magazine, Astronomy Now, Sky at Night Magazine. Those are the places you will get a more accurate information. Thank you, Starstorm. It really, really upsets me, and really, actually, it doesn't upset me. It annoys me to the point I go purple, and I want to reach out to the journalist and slap him severely, because all he's done really is make the rest of us who are serious about our hobby, about the science, look stupid and look bad. He always said, I went to such and such an astronomer, and he said that. Yeah, he may have said, if you're looking through a telescope. You left out the looking through the telescope bit. That really, really annoys me. Some of the TV weather people do get their facts straight. My local station, when it's talking about an astronomical event, does actually check their facts, and what they say is fairly accurate. But at the end of the day, people will want to sell newspapers. Gross inaccuracy is the name of the game. It flogs newspapers. It flogs magazines.
Well, there's also the other side of the coin where astronomers can talk too technical to the general public, not realizing their level of knowledge of astronomy is not as high as theirs, and they talk over them and lose them. So you've got to bring it down to a level where everybody can understand, but still keep your facts straight. So there's a kind of a blend. Yes, the reporters that don't know any science trying to report science don't get it all across properly, and then there's the people that are too technical that can't bring it down to an understandable level. So there's both sides of the coin, both sides of the extreme, and it has to be somewhere in the middle where it can be laid out where people can understand it.
I think the thing is, Marty, this is where, in a lot of cases, we're lucky. We have some fairly decent. There are some fairly decent astronomical shows on YouTube that get their facts straight and present them in an understandable way.
I think one of them's called Astronomy.fm.
Yes, one of them is us, because you can guarantee we're going to be very careful about what we say about an event that people could see with a naked eye. I'm not going to tell you, it's going to be thousands of meteors tonight. No way in heck, because that's my reputation trashed if I say that. But the thing is, you've got the sky at night, which has always tried to maintain accuracy and keep it at a level that someone from the general public can understand it. And I will say this: Patrick did a very, very good job. Chris Lintott does, and Maggie Philbin Pocock do a very, very good job in translating science speak to regular, normal, what John Doe, or whatever you want to call him in the street will understand. And it's really sad that there isn't really that type of science carried on, even on PBS today. Even as a monthly show, you just can't get it. Some countries have it because the TV station, if it's a state run operation like the BBC, realize that there is a market for it. So yeah, they're going to do it because people want to see it. People may have campaigned and sent petitions in to save the show or something, which is what they did with the Sky at Night. But at the end of the day, if you don't have access to this, you're going to be in a situation where either the guy from Mount Palomar or from Mount Hamilton or the Griffith Observatory is really going to be talking over your head.
That's why we're here, Nick.
Exactly. That's what we do. We
need to talk about other people, how they do it. We need to talk about what we do. Yeah. And we talk about space and astronomy to the general public.
And when we talk about comets and when we talk about meteor showers, we're going to say, well, they're saying it's going to be a good one, but yes, it may not. It's not going to be a rain of meteors. You may get 3, 4, or 5 an hour. That's pretty decent. Oh, by the way, I'm pointed out that Optronics is saying, wow, that rocket came off the pad fast. And Black Project is saying they're already interfering separation for Bepi Colombo. So
looks like a successful launch to the mission to Mercury.
Launch, yeah, which is great because the more we understand about our solar system, particularly about some of the inner terrestrial planets, the better off we're going to be. And at the end of the day, the trickle down is there because we now helps us understand our planet much, much better because we understand how Mercury ticks, how Jupiter works, what happened to Mars, can all be applied back down on Earth.
Yes, indeed. So where is Mercury? I think it's too close to the sun right now to see.
It is.
Most of the time it is. So that'll be coming back around again. Yeah. We'll report when that's back out again. So get out and do some planet observing, which you've got very limited amount of planets right now as far as bright ones go. We've got Saturn, the early part of the evening. Jupiter, I've kind of given up on that. That's near the horizon. It's a tough one to find. Saturn and Mars, the main planets in the sky right now. But there's also Neptune and Uranus. If you're a little bit more advanced with your telescope, you can pick out those. So
even better if you've got a CCD or a DSLR, you can get them. Black Projects and Optronics are saying that the Ariane launch, that was a long flame out of those boosters. Yes, Optronics, Ariane is a very, very hot rocket. It's designed to be heavy lift. It can't outlift Super Falcon, obviously, but it can take the loads that Delta can't. That is why Ariane is going to be launching the James Webb Space Telescope when it gets finally sent out, because only Ariane can actually lift that weight. Mm-hmm. Mercury's in the evening sky, according to Black Projects.
Oh, is it? All right. I didn't see it on my star chart. Must be below the trees at my Star Trek. So.
That's something you need to keep in mind. You need to realize where your local horizon is, because just because it's in your evening sky, it may be that your local horizon it's actually below your local horizon by the time twilight's here. One of the fun things to do is to chase Venus in the morning skies, which means you are looking quite close to where the sun will be.
I could be taking so very wrong.
Yeah, but as I say,
it's got to be coming around again pretty soon.
Absolutely, yeah. And Venus is one of those objects that actually shows phases. You can actually image the phase.
Well, Venus and Mercury.
Venus and Mercury, yeah.
And the Moon. Mars a little bit. Mars just a touch.
Mars to a touch, yeah. The Moon, Venus, and Mercury are only the ones we can really see distinct phases on. And with Mercury, it is very, very difficult. Venus is very good because we have the Ashen light as well, and that does kind of add to the image. I know that one person in Northolt Astro recently did image Venus and got a very nice crescent image.
I always like to image Venus during the crescent phase. It's a little bit more interesting that way than the gibbous phases, I think. Were fun. Oh, we'll have 4 more minutes to go and all kinds of stuff to talk about. Recent research by the Sophia Observatory, that's the airborne observatory, looking in infrared at some black holes, trying to figure out why some black holes are more galactic black holes, ones in the middle of black galaxies, are more active than others, and they think that there might be basically a donut of dust around some of the black holes, held in place by magnetic fields. So it's actually keeping the dust from going down into the black hole. And when it does, it goes down the black hole, then it speeds up and it gives off X-rays, and then we can see that there's some activity going on there. But some of them don't have that, and they think it might be that some magnetic fields are keeping that dust away from it.
Well, the thing is, as we discussed in the previous show, they're now beginning to think that the actual fields, magnetic fields, aren't as clear-cut as we previously thought. Particularly with one of the ones that was recently imaged, using computer modeling, they figure that the actual field loops are very, very complex. Now, which would mean, in some cases, it's slowing down the the actual consumption of this matter by the black hole. So yeah, it does make it very, very difficult. And I'm just seeing a message. Okay, I better send a reply here.
What?
Well, the message is 2 minutes.
Oh, it's all right. We know that. Getting close to the end, but not close. We got another minute and a half or so of a little bit of stuff. So I've got a new departure sound for us tonight. So we'll see how many people pick up on what it actually is. So we'll get there.
Last week was Doctor Who. Where have you gone to? Firefly this week?
You'll find out, and you got to see if you can figure out what it is when you hear it too. So.
Just because you know what it is, Marty, doesn't mean I automatically know it.
Well,
I may not have seen all the sci-fi
true.
shows you have.
That's true. So yeah, you'll give it a shot, and like everybody else, maybe somebody in the chat room will be able to pick out what it actually is. So, yeah, we'll have fun with it again. Well, let's see. We've only got about 1 more minute left to go, so I guess we might as well kind of wind it down. Don't forget, we've got more programming coming up. We've got 365. We've got a couple of 365s. We've got Jodcast coming up, and we repeat all these programs every 4 hours for the next 24 hours. So stick around, keep listening in.
I am posting the shows on my YouTube account. Go to the AFM Facebook page for a link if you want to hear the shows and get the links.
There you go.
Okay, I think it's about time, Marty.
It's pretty close.
Captain Savage, this is the away team. 3 to beam up. We're ready to come home.
thank everybody in chat room. Really appreciate you being here tonight, and we'll all see you next Friday night. Thanks, everybody. Yep, here we go.
We hope that you've enjoyed this program from AFM Radio, the broadcast service of Astronomy.fm. This program has been released under Creative Commons license. Please contact us for details. You may find more of our AFM original programs on our website. It's really easy to find us. We are Astronomy.fm. You may also find us in the iTunes radio listings near the top of the News Talk section, and also as an iTunes podcast selection. We'd love to hear your comments. Please email us at radio@astronomy.fm. Thanks so much for being part of the voice of astronomy around the world and across the known universe. This is Astronomy.fm Radio.
Hi, this is Tavi Greiner, Astronomy.fm's Vice President of Communications. If you enjoy our programming, please let us know with a donation to astronomy.fm/donate. We really do rely on your support, and it's true, every little bit counts.
AFM.
There I was, doing my thing. And all of a sudden, wham! Astronomy right between the eyes.